Welcome back to the GTN show. On this week's show, we have racing, lots of racing. It's back to racing. Plus, we have a new world #1 on the PTO rankings.
Yep, and we have the Barkley Marathons. It is arguably one of the toughest endurance sporting events. If you've not heard of it, well, stay tuned.
Starting today with the reacts, everything we've seen on the internet over the last week and has caught our interest. And we're going to start with this one because, well, it's in the news, isn't it? The whole situation, the war in Ukraine. And this is quite an interesting one. Giles Brook has put on his Instagram that you can buy a Cervelo P5 for 10 quid.
Yeah, it's really cool.
£10, yeah.
So, Giles has opened up kind of a donation Ukrainian appeal where you can basically donate £10 to enter into, I guess, a ballot for this Cervelo P5. And one lucky person will end up winning this Cervelo P5 for 10 quid. But obviously, all proceeds will go towards the Ukrainian appeal. And it's a pretty bling bike. Cervelo P5, and it's fully spec'd out. Shimano Dura-Race Di2, we've got a rotor crankset on there, some Walker Brothers deep section wheels.
Yeah. He said it just sits in the garage, deserves being on the road. Somewhere someone else would love to ride it, and the money's going to go to a good cause. So essentially, he started a raffle. £10 gets you a ticket and you could win a Cervelo P5. Pretty good deal and for a pretty good cause. You can head over to his Just Giving page. It's on his Instagram handle, Giles Brook, which is in the link down below, and you can support that cause and maybe you'll be walking home with a Cervelo P5. If you do, send us a photo when it arrives. We'd love to see the winner of this bike.
Yeah, great initiative though, Giles. Super
kudos
guy.
to him.
Yeah. Also, Patrick Lang, obviously, a couple of weeks ago, we sadly reported that he'd had a bike crash and sustained some injuries that's going to put him out of racing for the next few months, including the Ironman World Championships in St George. Well, he has just updated us with surgery, so he is on the road to recovery. He's had surgery and he seems pretty happy by.
He says the specialists have done their work, so now it's his turn to start the comeback, I suppose. So yeah, we wish him well on the road to recovery and back to full fitness. Speaking of crashes, did you see this one on the weekend? Sara Perez-Sala. She took a nasty one at Clash Miami. We were talking a few weeks ago about these aggressive time trial positions, looking down at your bars while you're going and not watching where you're going, and that looks like exactly what she was doing. Looks like she was focusing on her power meter. As she looked up, she realized there was a whole row of cones in front of her. It looks like she didn't just hit the cones, though. She also hit the timing box, which really flipped her and race over for her. She was up there with the leaders at that point too, so very frustrating for her. We wish her all the best in recovery from that nasty crash. We don't like to see that really in any races.
Talking of faux pas or failures, we had the Barkley Marathons this weekend, which we will get into very shortly and explain kind of the whole goings-ons of the Barkley Marathons. But Courtney Dauwalter, who is arguably one of the best ultramarathon runners in the world, she unfortunately failed on the second lap, and she does say lap 2 strikes again. And yes, she spent apparently an eternity searching around for a book. Again, we'll explain why this book is of significance. And yeah, she said it was a doozy of a night out there in the Frozen Head State Park. I think I'll be thawing out for a few days. It's a pretty brutal event, and we will explain why very shortly.
We'll get into that a bit later. Speaking of, bringing it back to triathlons, Mary Kane of running fame has done her first triathlon. This is pretty cool. She said she pretty much made every rookie mistake in the book when she did her first triathlon.
Who doesn't?
As you do. Maybe should watch some more GTN videos and she wouldn't make those mistakes. Anyway, she said she really enjoyed it. It was great to do a new sport for the first time since she was about 12, and she had some pretty famous supporters on the side of the road. She said she shouted halfway to Katie Zafiris and said, "Triathlons are hard." Yep.
Well, it's good to hear that even a top-level class runner like herself, even on the run, could be shouting, saying, "This is hard." So that's really cool. And congratulations and welcome to the triathlon world. Also, Richard Murray, who unfortunately had to take some time out last year due to heart issues and had to have an operation on his heart, is back. And with a bang, he won a Continental Cup over in Florida.
Yeah, he won the Conti Cup. We had that AFib, took him out of the Olympics. Was very frustrating for him, obviously, just before the Olympics. As he was getting fit for that, he was struck down, had a heart operation, but he's very much back, and we wish to see him going from strength to strength as the triathlon season starts. It's pretty exciting for me as a South African to see him, although he's not racing for South Africa anymore, is he?
And actually, interestingly, on his suit he had Tri rather than Netherlands, because apparently there's up to a 2-year transfer period.
Yeah, he hasn't officially transferred to the Netherlands. He is, but he's in the process. They say that's going to happen before the World Triathlon Series starts, but it clearly hasn't happened.
You won't be able to claim him for very long.
No, I won't.
Also, I thought this was really cool. I don't know about you, James, but Vincent Louis showing off his new Specialized S-Works tarmac bike, debuting it at a European Cup at the weekend, the indoor triathlon. Again, we'll talk about later on, but what a paintwork.
Yeah, it's a pretty smart bike, although looked like it was all indoors and pretty dark. Anyway, we'll get to that later. There's one more thing that we noticed this week on the Reacts, and this one's a little curious. The Canadian Commonwealth Games, the Canadian Athletics have put out their qualifying criteria for the Commonwealth Games, which are coming up in a few months' time. Their Canadian record for the marathon is 2 hours and 9 minutes. Their qualifying time to get into the Canadian team for the Commonwealth Games is 2 hours and 4 minutes.
Yeah.
And a few of the other ones are equally challenging, I suppose.
Let's just run through a couple here. 10K time for the men, 27:06. For the women, the 5K is 14:33. I mean, it just goes on. And these times are ridiculous. Now, apparently, the standards were set by Athletics Canada based on the average performances of the top 3 Commonwealth athletes during the past 3 track and field seasons.
Yeah, but these standards, as they set here, would have earned the Canadian athletes medals at almost all of those events in Tokyo at the Olympic Games. So someone maybe got their maths wrong when they're working out the
I do understand. I mean, Commonwealth game spots should be and are limited, but I mean, you might not even have a team at this rate.
Yeah, looks like it.
Well, now moving on to the Tri News, although this first bit isn't technically Tri News, but I think you guys will find it quite interesting. The Barkley course has won again for the 5th consecutive year. Now, in case you're wondering what on earth the Barkley Marathons is, well, it is arguably one of the toughest and weirdest endurance sporting events out there. Now, first off, you can't simply enter it like you would with any ordinary event. In fact, it's kind of a challenge simply to enter and find out how to enter and make contact with the event organisers, who are Gary Lazarus Lake Cantrell and Carl Hen Rawdog.
Yeah, there's no website or anything, so it's a bit of a folklore secret how you actually contact them. And then to enter, once you figure out how to contact them, you have to send an essay and motivates why I should be allowed to race the Barkley Marathons, including with your essay an entry fee of $1.60. Yeah, eat that, Ironman. Yeah, but it's a bit like Norseman. Only 40, maybe 50 people are allowed to enter each year, so most people, even if they write a really good essay, don't get in.
Yeah, and it takes place in Tennessee's Frozen Head State Park, and if you are successful in your entry, you have to arrive with a vehicle license plate from your home state or country. And the whole kind of event or premise of the event is based around a failed attempt of breaking out of prison, which is situated on the edge of Frozen Head State Park, where a prisoner simply ended up doing loops of this park before being caught by the police.
Yeah, so competitors have 60 hours to complete 5 laps of the route, 5 loops, which is about 20 miles a lap, although it's 20 miles horizontally and there's a lot of up and down, so they say it's probably more like 26 miles, hence the name the Barkley Marathons. They got to do 5 of them, and it's all orienteering. No GPS watches are allowed. Every competitor is given a Casio watch, one of those really basic digital watches. All they can really use it for is to tell how much time has elapsed since they started their lap, and then they go around basically orienteering, trying to find their way around the course. At each checkpoint, there's a book, and they've got a race number, which they're given at the start of each lap, and it changes every lap. And corresponding to your race number, you have to pull that page out of the book, and you have to keep it and go all the way back to the finish line to show that you got all the pages from the different books to you hit all the checkpoints. Like we said, it's a bit of a quirky
Now
event.
you say checkpoint, and most people out there will be picturing this nice big checkpoint that you'll be able
with
to
lights
visibly
and
see.
a table and
No, this checkpoint just it's just a book in the forest and you have to find it. So that is part of the challenge, particularly in the dark, the wet, the rain. You're trying to find a book strapped to a log or something. Now, just to add to the wackiness of the event, there isn't actually a particular start time either. So it starts anywhere between midnight to noon on the day, and with 1 hour till race start, signalled by blowing a conch. And then basically everyone gets ready, and then the race organiser, Gary Lazarus Lake Control, starts it by lighting a cigarette.
And off they go. If you finish 3 loops, which is about 60 miles, probably more like 72 miles, you're considered a fun runner. You get the fun run badge and say, well done, you did the fun run. If you get the next 2, you obviously finish the whole thing, but no one has finished the whole thing since 2017. In fact, out of more than 1,000 people who have started it, only 18 times has it been finished, and only about 15 different runners in its history. And no one has finished it, like Mark said, in 5 years. I mean, like we said, it's a bit of a nuts event.
Yeah, but it was on this weekend, and as we've said, no one was successful in finishing it. This year, though, Karel Saab and Greg Hamilton were got the furthest through it. They got into the 4th loop, and they were making good time, finishing 3 loops in just over 32 hours. But the 4th loop, it went peaked on.
Yeah, apparently it was really rainy and cold on the 2nd loop, and then obviously the 3rd loop was in the day, and then the 4th loop was back at night. Apparently, Karel Saab got lost, badly lost, and was found in a nearby town having a conversation with a garbage can. Yeah, he had been out there for over 40 hours at that point and apparently didn't know where he was. The sheriff actually picked him up after a concerned local called 911, put him in his car and drove him to the finish. But obviously he was DQ'd for that particular faux pas. And his fellow competitor who started the 4th lap, Greg Hamilton, did finish that 4th loop, but way beyond the cutoff time for that loop, so he wasn't allowed to start the 5th loop. So again, no one finished.
Yeah, there was some success though. Jasmine Paris actually scored a fun run, which is the shorter distance, as you mentioned before, which is 3 loops of the course, and she did it in just under 40 hours, making her the first woman to do so since 2013. So congratulations to her.
There were some posts on social media after it. The photographer who actually follows the whole event said everyone seems to be really enjoying their experience on loop 1 because of the weather was nice, and apparently it wasn't that technical this year. As Laz, the race director, says, navigation is pretty intuitive this year. When you're on top, you go down. When you're at the bottom, you go up. Fortunately, for further fun, the night calls for heavy rains, and sure it did.
Also, random forest runner, who is John Kelly, who was the last person to actually complete it back in 2017, and also actually accomplished Ironman athlete, has raced at Kona. He was actually, I believe, leading while doing incredibly well at one point, got onto loop 3, stopped to go for a pee, looked down where he would have shoved those pages from the book into his waist belt and realised they were missing. So having collected them, they'd been blown away. And so that was it, over. And apparently he spent hours searching around in the woods trying to find them.
Yeah, he said he spent 3 hours going up and down the hill where he figured he had lost them, then decided, you know what, my race is over, I'm going to walk back to camp. And as he started walking back to camp, he found his pages lying in the middle of the road.
Well, guys, do go check this event out. I mean, there is actually a documentary out there as well. I fully recommend going and give it a watch because it is absolutely mind-blowing.
Yeah, but now back to the triathlon news, and we have a new world number 1.
Yes, Laura Philipp, after her incredible performance at Ironman 70.3 Dubai last week, has now stepped up to the top spot on the PTO World Rankings, now ahead of Lucy Charles-Barkley, who also stepped ahead of Daniela Reef last year with her impressive Ironman 70.3 World Championship win. So now, Laura Philipp tops the table.
Yeah, no such movements on the men's field though, although Daniel Bakkegaard has gone up from 6th to 4th after his performance. He was 2nd at Dubai last weekend. And one final piece of tri news this week, Ironman has announced another new event, and this time it's Ironman 70.3 Tasmania, that small Australian island, which is pretty scenic, apparently. I've never been. Have you been?
I'd love to go. No, I've not been.
Well, this might be a good reason for us to go. Yeah. So they've announced the 70.3. The first run-in will be in the 5th of February 2023, and they've signed for 5 years. So we've got plenty of opportunities to go. Maybe we'll find ourselves there. Pretty cool event. It's definitely a tourist destination, Tasmania. So now you've got an excuse to go and visit.
Now moving on to What the tech? Now, Lululemon, the yoga activewear brand, has unveiled its new running shoe designed specifically for women, and it will be going on sale from the 5th of April.
Yeah, christened the Blissfeel, Lululemon has actually been planning their entrance into the footwear market for quite some time, and finally it is here with this women's specific version. Now, I thought they were already women's specific running shoes, but they were generally the same as the men's ones, just in pink and purple and lime green.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Now, apparently they have collected data from over 1 million foot scans to be able to specifically accommodate the women's foot shape and gait. But yeah, like you say, I kind of would have thought Adidas, the likes of Adidas, Nike would have done that already.
Yeah, or maybe they've seen a gap in the market. Yeah. Maybe there is a significant difference. Or maybe Lululemon is just doing some really clever marketing. Yeah, now you can be Lululemon head to toe.
Yeah.
I know a few people who would love to be Lululemon head to toe. Anyway, Blissfeel, this one is just the first of their whole range of Blissfeel shoes, which we will see throughout the rest of 2022.
And to be fair to them, they look pretty good.
They do look pretty good, yeah.
Right, now moving on to the race news, and starting with Clash Miami. Yeah, it was quite an eventful and dramatic event. We had Ashley Gentle out of the water in second in the women's race, around a minute behind Sara Perez-Sala, who unfortunately obviously went on to have that bike crash. Yeah, put her out of the race. And Gentle then powered on to take the bike course record by over a minute off Lucy Charles-Barkley. Obviously onto the run, it looked like Ashley Gentle was going to run away with it, but we did have a bit more drama as well, because Emma Pallant had to DNF due to heat exhaustion or dehydration, along with Chelsea Zadara, who was running in third at the time. Ashley Gentle took the win by over 8 minutes ahead of Pamela Oliveira, and in third we had Maya Stage-Nielsen.
Yeah. On the men's side, Sam Long took the win. He did not have that good of a swim, considering he cancelled Christmas to work on his swim, did he?
No, he came out 32nd onto the bike.
Yeah, it's quite a way down.
Imagine if you didn't cancel Christmas.
Yeah, well, to be fair, he did take the win, but he said he was working on his swim because last year at the Collins Cup, Jan Frodeno said he was a duathlete, not a triathlete.
Well, I think he's proven him wrong.
Yeah, well, he did take the win. He posted the fastest bike and a new bike course record. So he came off with a 23-second advantage on Magnus Ditlev and Ben Knut, and he just ran away with it from there. Jason West did run past Ben Knut and Magnus Ditlev to take second, and Ben Knut held on for third in that race. And then Mark came across these pretty cool...
All right, don't laugh, but I thought these are really cool. So Julia Bortolotto has started creating these kind of bits of art around each event, little kind of cartoon characters. I just thought it was really cool. Someone actually going to the effort of personalising these characters around each event. Also did it for the couples championship with each couple. So yeah, keep up the good work.
Yeah, what's the bit they'll be selling as NFTs soon?
Oh yeah, true, exactly.
Anyway, there was some more racing down south. Challenge Shepparton happened this weekend, and Australia's Tim van Berkel and New Zealand's Amelia Watkinson came out on top there with very different victories. Tim van Berkel basically ran away with it. No one was within a country mile of him, but Amelia Watkinson, however, only took the lead and the win in the final 200 meters, sprinting past the Netherlands' Lottie Wilms to take the win on the women's side.
Wow. Now moving on, we also have the 11 Indoor European Cup. Now we don't normally talk about Continental Cups, but this one's quite unique and quite cool. So it all takes place within one stadium with spectators crowding into that stadium, DJs and everything. So it seems like quite the atmosphere. Essentially, we've got a swimming pool in the middle of a velodrome. So they swim in the pool, I think it's a 150 metre swim, and then quick sprint around the velodrome, and then also running in the velodrome as well. So
ends with a 1K run in the same velodrome. So basically it's the arena games without the treadmill and the Zwift, isn't it?
Well, it's kind of actually the original, because I mean, if you go back, as I mentioned last week on YouTube, you can see videos of Mark Allen and the likes doing this same event. Now, interestingly, Vincent Louis towed the line, and it was a close finish. Their finish time is to the same second almost. So Vincent Louis took the win just ahead of Genius Grau, and then on the women's side it was Nina Im to take the win.
Yeah, do you think that fancy paintwork on his new bike made all the difference to Vincent Louis, that fraction of a second that he won by?
Not really, no, but
Probably was training.
yeah. I'd say so.
Anyway, let's take a look at some of the upcoming events because triathlon season's getting exciting now. Yeah. So this weekend coming up, we have Challenge Puerto Varas in Chile, and we also have Ironman 70.3 Lanzarote, which is looking to be a pretty big one.
Really exciting. Go on the women's side, you go for it.
On the women's side, we have Lucy Buckingham, who near Hall. She just got married. Her new name,
Marjolaine. Get used to that.
Yeah, we are going to. Marjolaine Pierre, who was also in good form. Kat Matthews, who we recently did a day in the life of her training in Lanzarote, and Anne Haug, world champion, and then making the debut, the mixed relay gold medalist from Tokyo, Jess Learmonth.
That would be really exciting.
Debut. So it's a pretty exciting women's race there.
And on the men's side, we got Leo Berger, Pierre Lecour, Boris Stein, Bart Ernaux, David McNamee, Florian Anger, Kyle Smith, who I had an uphill race with, and Leon Chevalier, who we recently had a tandem race with. Yeah. These obviously are all just on the start list, but we know a number of those are definitely racing. Yeah, that's going to be that is going to be good.
Pretty exciting racing. Looking a little bit further ahead to the unofficial official start of the season every year, which is 70.3 Oceanside, and this is where the big names traditionally come out for the first time and show us the first taste of their form, and this looks like it's going to be no different this year.
Yeah, rumour has it, on the men's start list we're going to have Sam Long, Alistair Brownlee, Rudy von Berg and Lionel Sanders.
Yeah, this is just an entry list, it's not confirmed starters yet.
Well, I have actually heard that Sam Long, Alistair Brownlee and Lionel Sanders are confirmed.
Oh, did they call you personally and let you know?
So that's the kind of guy I am. They don't Mark are just going to...
Anyway, on the women's side, we have Ashley Gentle, who just won Clash Miami, Holly Lawrence, Marinda Carfrae, three-time world champion, Sky Munch, Paula Findlay, Daniela Reef, and Taylor Nibb, who went head-to-head at the Collins Cup last year, and also coming up from the short distance, Ayu Yada from Japan.
That would be very exciting. Looking forward to that. And then also on the same weekend, we have Ironman South Africa as well.
Starting off the Ironman season too. It's all happening.
If you're here a bit longer, they'll start calling you as well.
I hope so. All right, now it's time to look at some of the content you've sent to us. And remember, you can upload your own content. Use the link on screen now or in the description down below to upload any triathlon related content. So this week we have this from Scott. He says, I just received my impossible to get in the US Canyon Speedmax. Had to purchase from a Canadian Canyon website, shipped to a friend of a friend in Canada. Once delivered, was shipped from Canada into the US. So it was a long journey for my new bike, but totally worth the effort and the wait. Wow, that is quite the effort to get their bike. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I thought this was going to be a photo of his pain cave he was showing us.
It's quite utilitarian, isn't it?
It's very utilitarian. You should see the pain cave I'm building.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, not yet.
Yeah, stay tuned guys. But a lovely bike and well worth the wait. I'm sure you may disagree, but the bike is lovely, so very well done. Also, Michael from Taiwan, and this is after 70.3. He said that Taiwan is still experiencing quarantine, so nobody is able to take part in the event from outside of Taiwan, so 700 people are racing, all from Taiwan. He said it's been a year since his last 70.3, and this race is in preparation for his full Ironman in April, and a very cool race suit.
He looks very relaxed on that bike.
I didn't even notice
he's really pushing hard. He's chilling out on his aero bars there. I'm sure that was just for the camera. He didn't do that the whole way. Anyway, we also had one more photo, and this is from our friend Argo from Estonia. He sent us a few other things. He said, easy technical trail ride on snow and ice. He says, I don't have a pain cave. I enjoy the outdoors every chance I get, even in the winter. I feel like I'm being shamed here, Mark, for having a pain cave and training indoors.
Well, maybe he just hasn't seen the sort of pain cave you're building.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, then if he sees that, he might
maybe then next winter he's going to send us all kinds of photos.
Although to be fair, it does look quite cool where he's training. I'll give him that. Yeah, don't forget to send in your photos, pain caves, you in racing, training, using that photo upload. The link is on screen right now or in the description just down below. And now moving on, finally to the Caption Competition, your chance to win a GTN swim cap. Last week, we gave you this photo from the Couples Championship with Non Stanford and Aaron Royal across the finish line celebrating their victory, their win. And yeah, you sent in some great captions.
Yeah, Thomas Leroy said, you were late, I was that much ahead of you.
Nice. Arthur Del Rio, hug? No, show me the money.
And Ron Hamilton, who was our winner this week, said, "You could have given me a bigger gap, babe." Oh, well, they still won. They won $100,000. And you won a cap, Ron Hamilton. So send us your details and we'll get that cap out to you.
Yeah.
Well done.
Now for this week's Caption Comp photo, and it really isn't from this week. It's from Lausanne 2020 from the grand final.
Yeah.
So actually, maybe a call out to you guys if you want to send us some funny photos in. And again, use that photo uploader link that you can find in the description down below, and we may use it.
Yeah, we really need the racing to start up.
We really
again,
do.
So we get some photos.
But yeah, from Lausanne 2020, we have the mascot crossing the finish line. I've got to say, he's really milking it, isn't he?
Oh, I see what you did there, but that was bad. Yeah, you can definitely do better than Mark, so leave your comments down below with the hashtag Caption Competition and you could be winning a cap next week. Coming up on the channel this week, we have a video on how you can make your triathlon bike more comfortable.
Or something I'm sure many people would like to do. Well, if you enjoyed today's show, please do give it a thumbs up, give it a like, and don't forget you can also subscribe to the channel for free. If you'd like to watch some of our videos that are out already, you can watch what it takes to do and train actually for an Ironman. And also, does watts per kilo matter?